In this video, I'm going to be showing you the steps that I take to give my client a medium or mid fade. Stick around to the end so that you do not miss the final results. To kick this fade off, I already combed out my client's hair, picked it out, and now I'm going in, starting at the bottom of the C cup or the end of the eye, and I'm going backwards, but I'm dropping towards the back. So I'm creating an arched effect from that point on and dropping it as I go back and keeping a consistent curve arch towards the back, over the ear but under the occipital bone, just to maintain that darkness. And with all my guidelines, you'll see that I'll keep this same exact shape, but I'm setting a solid foundation. At first, here I'm going in with the lever completely open. That's my next step. I want to go in a full inch, just clearing out enough space, a big enough panel to give myself enough room to come back and blend this area out, but keeping in mind the density, the hair growth pattern, as well as the space or the area that I have in order to fade. So I want to think about the very bottom as well as the very top. Here I'm going in with the number 1 guard with the lever completely closed. Again, going up another full inch to create space to blend, but also keeping the same shape as the first initial guideline. Dropping towards the back, but also maintaining the darkness at the C cup or the hairline area. Now I want to go in with my number 2 guard with the lever completely closed, skipping the 1.5 guard, and you will see why later. My number 2 guard, I'm just going to debulk a lot in most of this, but I am going up into the number 3 because he's keeping everything on top. And so I want to be able to just complete a smooth transition with the bulk and the darkness. So I start with the number 2, and then I'm gonna work my way into the number 3 and finish off at there. And at the top, the very top, is where I want to be completely blended into the bulk at the top. And that's where I'm at right now, using the number 3 guard, using the heel of the blade, going into the shape of the actual fro on top, but I'm maintaining the density and the darkness at the top, not taking off too much. And so I'm playing it safe, and I'm starting below and flicking up in, not going deep and digging into the hair. As you can see here, as I mentioned before, I'm going back in with the number 1.5 guard with the lever completely open, using the corner or the edge of the blade or the last 3 to 4 teeth just to manipulate those darker spots. And the reason that I'm doing it with just the edge of the blade is to be able to get in smaller spaces. And the reason why I'm not laying the blade flat is because it's going to take off too much hair. It's going to take it off in the wrong spaces, in the wrong areas. So you want to maintain the density by using very little of the blade, or in other words, detailing. As you can see here, I'm using the 0.5 guard, and I'm doing the same exact thing, detailing the smaller or darker spots in the areas that I don't need the full blade. And the only reason that you do this is when you are detailing. Mind you, if you remember, I did not use the corner of the blade when I was putting in my levels or my layers or my guidelines. I just used the full blade because I needed it at that one desired length, and that will allow you to be more efficient. You don't want to use the corner of the blade when you're setting in guidelines, only when you're taking them out. When you're setting in a guideline, you're covering the most area, the most space, and not necessarily putting in a hard line, but you are putting in lines of demarcation that allow you to stay consistent throughout your blend. When you're taking out lines, you're erasing lines or erasing the hair in between the demarcation lines. And so that's why you use the corner of the blade in order to detail, so that you do not push or put in any more lines or push the fade up higher than what it needs to be. And so to do so, you manipulate it with very subtle adjustments or light pressure overall, just to be able to eliminate the darker spots. You don't want to apply too much pressure and over fade and even just overwork the cut. And so again, guidelines go in with the full blade, but they come out with the corner of the blade. The detail work is on the edge of the blade. You don't need to do this putting the guidelines in, however, because it's not going to create an efficient or consistent guideline. Here I've made my way back down to no guard at all with the lever halfway, and I'm just continuing to detail on the corner of the blade. And the density of this client's hair, you could easily overwork this fade or push it up too high, just doing too much of nothing. So you want to be consistent with focusing on the darker spots and being sure to maintain the darkness that's there, because his hair is actually waved up or curled on the side, and so it may look like it's a few more darker spots in there, but you want to be able to keep some of that so that you can keep a gradient effect. You don't want it to be completely bald and then dark at the top. Here on the beard, I'm just going with the grain because the top of the beard actually is tapered out naturally because of the density of the top of his beard as well. It's not as dense, and so it's naturally blending out. I'm using my 0 guard or my 0.5 guard here, just using the lever completely closed, and I'm working through those lines, detailing darker spots just to continue the consistency from the top to the bottom and make sure that I blend into this effectively. Here on the other side, I'm going in the same exact steps right over the ear and under the occipital bone, just to create a dropped or sloped effect, just to maintain a gradient contrast to the fade. Again, use reference points like the end of the eye. As you can see, I'm using that to start my fade, but also the shape of his head to drop it towards the back so I can have darkness around the occipital bone without taking it up too high, because it's a mid fade. I don't want to go too low, but I also don't need this to be started too high. My next step, I want to go in with the lever completely open, another full inch, creating consistency within this guide, as well as keeping in mind where I started off and the window that I have from the start until the top of this fade, or the ending point of this fade. So where I'm going to finish off, keeping in mind exactly where I have room to go up into this next guideline. Here I'm going in with the number 1 guard with the lever completely closed and setting myself up again from that guideline into my next one, keeping in mind the very top or the parietal ridge area. And as I'm approaching the parietal ridge area here, I'm being cautious and being mindful of where I'm going to leave the darkness at. And so here I'm going in with the number 2 guard. That's my next step. I'm maintaining that darkness around the hairline as well as in the top, the very top of this fade, or in the hairstyle where the fade meets the actual style on top, allowing myself to keep that area dark, but just slowly but surely transitioning. Here I'm going in with the number 3 guard, and this is the final guard that I'm going to use. Again, just maintaining that consistency of the darkness and transitioning from the faded area into the actual style on top. As you can see, I'm going completely against the grain, and by doing so, I got to go towards the right because his hair is growing towards the left. And so to make sure that I'm actually getting into that one desired length, or that true 3 guard, here I'm just going exactly diagonally, just because the hair is growing that way. So I'm making sure that I'm combing it back down to its natural position and then going right back in and debulking as much as possible. Again, I'm not putting in a hard line here. I'm just softening up the very top of this fade or the parietal ridge area. Here I'm going in with the number 1.5 guard or 1.5 guard, and I'm going in with the lever completely open, staying at the bottom of this and right up under the 2 guard. And because I set it up to debulk the top and create the transition at the very top, I'm no longer working in that space, and I'm right under there, and I'm completing the transition between the middle 2 guidelines in order to pull everything together. I want to use the corner of the blade and just go in slowly but surely and eliminate as many dark spots as possible while using this guard here. Just maintaining consistency, but I'm actually no longer focused on the top. I'm in the middle, and so I'm staying in this one round. And here I'm dropping back down to the 0.5 guard, and I'm doing the same exact thing, but I'm dropping a little lower in the fade. And my goal here is, again, to not take out any darkness from the top or to put in any hard lines, and that's why I'm using that corner of the blade or the edge of the blade just to get into those smaller spaces. And the whole goal or the overall focal point of this here is to just eliminate the very bottom line slowly but surely. And so when I'm walking back down and working my way from top to bottom, I just want to be able to slowly soften up the very bottom line as much as possible while maintaining the darkness at the top, but still creating a seamless transition. And so as you can see here, I'm just going in again using the corner of the blade, but I'm working at that very bottom line, softening it up. But also, as you can see, the lower I go in the guard numbers, the lower I'm going in the fade. And there's the same exact steps for the lever. If you want to go lower in the fade, you can close the lever up more. If you go higher, it's ideal that you open up the lever more. So here I'm going back down to the lever halfway with no guard on at all, and I'm working in between the first 2 lines that I put in, which was the lever completely closed, the lever fully open, and I went up about 1 inch. I'm staying in that inch area right here, and this right here gives me that consistency and that structure throughout my fade to allow me to stay in the same realm. And that's what a guideline is. That's what a guideline does. It keeps you in a boundary so that you can make sure that you can focus on the area that you need to be in. And as you can see, I'm going a little higher in the fade, but I open the lever up all the way. And so when you want to go up higher, it's ideal that you open up the lever because it takes off less hair. Here I seen a little bit of darkness, so I went back up to my 0.5 guard or my half guard here with the lever open as I'm going up, just detailing something that I figured that I couldn't get out with the lever all the way, open. I just wanted to be safe here and put a guard on it. Here I'm dropping down to the beard with the lever completely closed, giving myself room to set this taper up towards the top of the beard, and keeping in mind the density at the top of this beard. I'm dropping down here, just doing the same exact steps, going down about a full inch with the lever open. And as you can see here, number 1 guard with the lever completely closed, same exact steps. And I'm just nudging at the very bottom line just to make sure that it's softening up to set myself up to come back in. Corner work here, and as you can see, it's typically not this easy. However, the density at the top of his beard is not as dense. So here I'm going in with the 0 guard, and I'm just nudging at the dark spots, and as you can see, it's coming together. It's smooth. Going with the grain here. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video up, and let me know in the comment sections what you like about this video. If you want to see more videos like this, more specific videos that you want me to do, please feel free to hit me up and let me know, and I can make that happen. Here I'm just taking off the very bottom excess hair just to completely bald out the bottom of this fade and take the transition to another level. Here I notice a little bit more bulk, only because I didn't go completely around the backside. I was showing the sides of it, and so here I'm just debulking with my 1 guard. Here I'm just hitting the back of the beard, just completely filling out the shape of this beard and giving myself enough consistency throughout this just to make sure that I can identify any inconsistencies throughout the fade and the tapers. I do feel like once you put a line on the beard or anything, or start shaping up your client in general, it allows you to see any other imperfections or inconsistencies. And so I'm just combing the hair out and just cleaning up any overhanging hairs, just catching them with the trimmers. Here I'm going back with the 0 guard. Again, like I said, detailing any dark spots that I seen. Lever open here, and I'm just nudging at those dark spots. Same exact steps here. Here on the C cup, I just want to start at the fullest point and work my way through. If it's something you struggling with, like the lineups or C cups or vertical bars or whatever you struggling with, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Someone will help you, and nobody's perfect. We can all learn from each other. Continue to be a student. Worst thing a barber can do is get beyond himself to feel like he's beyond teachable. And I say he in general. I know there's female barbers, so the worst thing any barber could do is feel like they are unteachable. I set in the vertical bars first, and then I work my way from the middle out, and so I can have reference points. As you can see, just being sure to create a consistency. I want to set reference points for myself just to make sure that I'm able to stay consistent, as I said, and as I say a lot, just because I like consistency, and I think my clients appreciate my consistency. Every cut that I do exactly the same. It's systematic. My client did want enhancements, and so here I'm just lightly spraying, as you can see, aiming at the card and allowing the overspray to go into the actual hairline, just to create a dense or a full effect where there is lighter spots. Using my Tune 45 clutch card and enhancements. This right here, fire. This a banger. Here I just catch any overhanging hairs and pull this beard to its full potential. And as you can see, as I'm punching the line, and it's already looking like it's fuller. It's already looking cleaner than what it was. And this right here just takes the beard to another level. When doing razor work, you just want to angle the razor at a 45-degree angle, stretch the skin with the opposite hand, and pull it back to the natural line. In this case, I just wanted to get all the extra debris away from the hairline so that when I dust it off, it's easier to come off. This is just the extra spray and overspray of any extra chemical or enhancements. And so here I'm just being sure to keep my station, my setup clean, being sure to make sure that this canvas is clean at all times and I can see what I'm working with. Very light pressure, but like I said, stretch the skin, because the second that you allow the blade to glide across your client's face or their skin, that's typically where you'll cut your client. So you do want to stretch the skin as much as possible. When connecting the beard, you just want to follow the first line you put in, stretch the skin, and just match it up. Connect the lines and the beard will follow the natural shape that you give it. As you can see, this is the final results. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. Let me know what you like or don't like about this video in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on that post notification bell. My name is Kel, and I'll catch you in the next one.